All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the stream. It's almost Christmas time. We got exciting times, but we're currently, as you can see, as indicated by my red shirt, we're in a market dip right now. We have lost, 10% on Bitcoin, more on Ethereum, and the market's in an overall state of dump. No Santa rally for us, I guess. So what I wanted to talk about in this stream is resiliency, because Wise is a project and a token that is extremely resilient in a number of different ways. First of all, our token is resilient. Second of all, our protocol is resilient. And third of all, our partnership with World Mobile and what we'll be offering very, very soon, just a few days from now, actually, 20% fixed APY. This is very resilient as well, because when we're talking about World Mobile, it's not market dependent. So crypto can dip all at once, the stock markets can crash, and people are still going to be paying their internet bills, and that's where the yield comes from World Mobile. So very interesting stuff to talk about today. Let me check out the live stream. And if you guys are seeing this, say hello in the live stream. Let me know that this is working. Also, this is supposed to be like a community time. I live stream so that I can interact with you guys. I can always just make videos and, there's no interaction there. But the point of these live streams are for you guys to participate too. So if you're watching me, say hello and interact. Let me know what you are thinking about the stream as we go on. So first of all, let's talk about the resiliency of Wise token. Let's go to Uniswap, and we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to go explore, go to pools, and then check on the Ethereum network. And we can see that even despite this market crash, the Wise Ethereum pool is still the number one pool on Uniswap, with $207 million in TVL, and it's the number one pool. So this is our ownerless pool that was created when we created Wise token. This was 4 years ago, guys. Do you realize that? We created Wise token 4 years ago, and today we are the number one pool on Uniswap. And, we're going to blow these stats out of the water soon, because we just launched Wise Lending earlier this year, and we're just now starting to get traction on Wise Lending. You can see we've got 1.35 million. We actually had over 2 million. So we took a little step back. Some people removed some Bitcoin from the protocol. That's fine. Probably sold it above 100,000. Now it's under 100,000. We'll see how that goes. But we know that more money is coming onto the protocol, and just having over 1 million is a great achievement in and of itself. We know we have this World Mobile Vault coming very soon. In a couple days, we got a $5 million allocation that's going to start earning 20% APY. And these are great things. So this is going to be producing revenue for Wise Lending, which is going to translate into value for Wise token, because revenue from the protocol is used for buying Wise. In every other project, they're not going to use 100% of their revenue to buy their token back. They just can't do that. That's not how their business is set up. They're set up like a regular business. They got investors, they got founders, they got a team, and those are the people, those insiders are the ones that get a lot of profit. But Wise token and Wise Lending, Wise is a community ecosystem. We built these protocols for the community. We built them 100% fair, just like the launch of Wise token, 100% fair. I didn't get any free tokens. Nobody got any free tokens. I actually sold my home, converted that money into ETH, and then invested in the Wise token auction alongside every other investor. So you have a community launch token, extremely fair launch. In fact, I don't think there's any other token that was launched as fairly as ours. Certainly not any that have ownerless liquidity like we do. Do you guys realize the significance of this liquidity pool and the fact that it's ownerless, by the way? Like you've got this wrapped Bitcoin ETH pool. This is not an ownerless pool. There's people that own this, and they could pull that liquidity when they needed to. And then people wouldn't be able to swap wrapped Bitcoin with their ETH anymore. Same thing with this USDC ETH pool. There's people that own that liquidity, maybe thousands of people, but they could pull that liquidity. But with the Wise ETH pool, we didn't just create this massive liquidity pool with all the ETH that we raised. We created it and then we burnt the LP token so that this pool was ownerless. So this is a permanent market for Wise that's not going away. And this makes Wise an amazing community token with the possibility of becoming a reserve token for Ethereum. What's a reserve token? Well, a reserve token is a token that you would hold in place of like the original, for instance. So we want people to hold Wise and to value Wise as equal to or greater than holding Ethereum itself. Is that possible? Yes, it is. Why would somebody want to hold Wise or think that Wise is more valuable than holding ETH itself? Well, first of all, because we have a price floor in ETH, we got all this ETH that's in our pool. So we got a ton of ETH in this pool, right? So if we go check it here, how much ETH do we have? We have 30,000 ETH in this pool. And since it's an ownerless pool, that means that the ETH, the 30,000 ETH in this pool is backing up the value. It's provably backing up the value of Wise. So if you're a Wise token holder, then you know that there's 30,000 ETH backing up the value of Wise. So Wise is backed by ETH. It's correlated by ETH. And it always will be because of this massive ownerless pool. Let's say, more people buy Wise. How do you buy Wise? Well, you got to swap ETH for Wise in this pool, and then this ownerless pool grows and grows, and now we've got more and more ETH. At one point during our all-time high in 2021, we had over 100,000 ETH in this pool. That was during our all-time high. Now we have 30,000 ETH, and we're pretty close to our price floor. But this is what happens when people purchase Wise. You purchase Wise, you're putting more ETH in this ownerless pool, and now there's more ETH backing up the value of Wise token. So right now we're an amazing community token. Another important thing about Wise is that it doesn't have any whales. So because of the way that we launched a completely fair auction. Nobody got big chunks. There were no whales that were created just by the tokenomics. And then when we launched with $82 million of liquidity on day one. So nobody could be like early and then scoop up the liquidity and become this massive whale like you see with other meme coins and other projects that start with small liquidity, while those early investors can like buy up a huge chunk and become whales instantly because they launched with small liquidity. But we had a 50-day auction and then we launched with 82 million in liquidity. So we got all this ETH backing our token. We got no whales, and this makes Wise a perfect community token. Like, a lot of, pretty much every other DeFi project would be salivating to have a token like ours with 200 million plus in ownerless liquidity and no whales. That's completely unheard of, and it makes our token really great, like head and shoulders above the rest. There's really no other token like Wise. It's like as far as value and decentralization and no whales. Really, you can compare them to Bitcoin and Ethereum itself as far as like how decentralized they are, how well distributed they are, how they're like, there's even bigger whales in Ethereum and Bitcoin than there are with Wise token. And the idea with Wise token is that, this is a community token, and we want to achieve the status of being a reserve token. How do we achieve that? Well, first of all, we got to provably show that the value of Wise is going steadily up versus Ethereum. Right now it's not. Right now it's tracking the price of Ethereum very closely because it's got all this ETH that's in the pool, right? So it just naturally is going to track the price of ETH. So right now you buy ETH, you buy Wise, it's pretty much the same thing. They follow each other. Now with Wise, you can get a little bit higher staking APY, so you could get a bigger return there. But right now, Wise isn't really going up that much versus Ethereum. And it's not going to do so until, one, we start building our community, start educating people about what Wise is and the potential of it, and then people can start buying it. And then two, there's more buys that's going to happen from Wise lending, just like I showed you. All the revenue from this protocol is being used to buy Wise in some way. Either it's buying Wise for for revenue, or it's buying Wise for the Wise R community. We pretty much have 100% of our net income that is being made on Wise Lending. It's being used to buy Wise. And right now, we don't have a lot of revenue. We made like less than $10,000 of revenue total so far on Wise Lending. That's just a direct factor of what our TVL is. But this World Mobile Vault has a potential to make a lot more revenue, actually. So even if we just fill up this $5 million vaults, which I think we could do pretty quickly, that's going to generate hundreds of thousands of dollars of revenue per year, and this allocation can grow as well. So every couple months we can get more allocation from World Mobile Vault. We can fill that up, as long as we fill that up. They're going to keep on giving us more and more allocation. So this World Mobile Vaults can be the answer to a lot of our problems, because it can generate a lot more revenue than the rest of the platform itself. So this is great. And this is wonderful, but to achieve the same result as we could with $5 million on World Mobile, we need like $50 million total value locked on the platform, which is fine. We're going to get that too. And this basic lend borrow services is the core of the platform. But what we're starting to do is we're starting to integrate real world assets vaults. And so World Mobile is the first in the pipeline. We got a couple more coming as well. But World Mobile is definitely like the best offering in a real world asset that I have seen so far. All right, we got some people in the chat. We got Blue Phone Booth says, nice. Meme-tastic says, what is the current market cap of Wise? That is a good question. So right now, I believe it's about 10 million. Let's actually, let's go to Wise. Oops. Let's go to our Wise token websites. And we got a nice little CoinGecko link at the bottom here, and we can go ahead and check it out. So market cap is 10.9 million right now. And so this is, and by the way, this fully diluted valuation is incorrect. I don't know why they changed it. It used to be correct, but they changed it to include all of the like all of this value on Uniswap too. So Wise, there's no tokens being held for like investor cliffs, or there's none of that bullshit. It's been fully diluted since day one, and what this calculation is like all the Wise on Uniswap. So it's saying if all the Wise on Uniswap were purchased at the current price of Wise, then our fully diluted market cap would be 111 million. But that's actually not the case, because in order to purchase Wise off of Uniswap, you can't buy all the Wise off of Uniswap. It's going to become infinitely more expensive. Like you buy some and the price goes up, it'll go up to infinity before you can buy the last token off of the Uniswap pool. So this is an incorrect valuation, and this also isn't taking into account that our pool is ownerless. So usually dilution is like, you've got investors and they've got like a cliff or something like that, and so investors are going to get a bunch of tokens at some time in the future that they can dump on people's heads. This can't be dumped on people's heads. It's here on Uniswap, and it's an ownerless pool. So the only thing that can happen is you can buy it off of Uniswap, but that's not diluting it. That is actually concentrating the token, because you're putting more ETH into our ownerless pool, and then swapping it for Wise. So right now, market cap is $10.9 million for Wise token. And if we go ahead and look at the staking app, we can see if it's going to populate. Okay, I guess you need to connect a wallet for that. But of this $10 million, over 9 million is actually staked. And because you could stake Wise token, you could earn some APY for staking it, but when you stake it, like there's huge penalties for ending early. So if somebody stakes it, that's a big commitment. And so our staked Wise, like of our circulating market cap, there's like 9 million of the 10 million that is staked, and the average duration that it's staked for is like 3 years. and they can't end that stake or they'll take a huge penalty. And so like when we're talking about actually circulating, understand that first of all, this is a tiny market cap compared to like Aave, Compound, or Spark Protocol that are in the billions. Their token market cap is in the billions. So the opportunity here is huge. And second of all, staking our token is a big deal. And it means it's actually pretty much locked up, or people are going to take big penalties for exiting. And that means that the circulating supply right now is only like less than $1 million worth of WISE is actually liquid and then floating around. And so what that means is if there's any demand at all, you pretty much have to buy it off of Uniswap, which is going to drive the value of WISE token up. So we have essentially perfect tokenomics. You're not gonna find any other tokens that raised at the time $41 million worth of ETH and then used all of that for liquidity and then made it that liquidity an ownerless pool. And then there wasn't insiders, there wasn't investors, and there wasn't cheap tokens being given away. So there's zero whales. You're just never ever going to find that combination anywhere because it required a huge sacrifice by me. Like most founders, like they raised $41 million. Well, they're going to go buy a $20 million house in California. Like that kind of thing happens all the time. I think the founder of Curve Protocol, bought a $30 million house. You see all these other founders, they raise tons of money. They're going to use it for themselves and they're going to buy a house. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Like the Curve founder, for instance, created a ton of value. Curve is a great protocol and Curve actually makes a lot of money too. And it's very successful. But I'm saying, to do this required some sacrifice because I could have walked away with a lot here. And I didn't because I wanted to create something that was sustainable, that's still going to be here in 25 years. And I knew that at the value of ETH when we raised $41 million of ETH, that auction on day one, the price of ETH was only $350. So I knew if we were going to create a reserve token, we had to do it as early as possible because, value of crypto like Bitcoin and Ethereum goes up over time, right? So even though we're in this massive dip, we're at like $2,400 now or something like that. $2,400 ETH, well, that's still a lot more than $350 in ETH. And actually, when we started coding the WISE contracts, it was during the Rona. And the first time I paid Vitalik, ETH was like $80, like actual $80 on that crash. So that's all done now. Like we did it. I made the sacrifice. We now have the biggest pool on Uniswap. There's no whales in this pool, and we have this massive opportunity to be a participant in WISE at these early stages. Like some of you guys might have been in WISE for 4 years now, and you're like, early stages. I've been holding WISE for a long time, and yeah, I've seen some return on my US dollar, but I haven't seen a lot of return versus ETH, and I would like to see a return versus ETH. Well, good things take time, but the good news for you is that time's here. The time is here and time is now because we got a live protocol now. We have a very clear path to get to massive profitability. We're going to start with this $5 million allocation with a World Mobile Vaults. And I am projecting in 2025 I'm going to say at least $2 million worth of revenue for the protocol, which is great. Buying $2 million of WISE, that's going to drive the price up a few cents. Combine that with the fact that everybody else is going to see the progress that we're going to make as we're building the community, building the WISE token community. More people are going to catch on because we haven't been like telling people about this. It's been our own community secret for the longest time. You don't really see ads for WISE. You don't really know about WISE if you're not in it already. Just the few 7,000 to 10,000 of us that hold WISE. But that's going to change very soon because now we got this live protocol. Now we're not just an idea. We're not just an idea with a big liquidity pool. We actually have a live protocol. It's going to start generating a lot more revenue pretty soon. Like it is generating a little bit of revenue right now, but very soon it's going to be generating a lot more, especially if we fill this vault. So yeah, I have no dry powder to buy Wise to stake. That's fine. If you don't have any dry powder, that is perfectly fine. Like you don't have to buy Wise. However, it is a pretty big opportunity now. Now, let's talk about the World Mobile Vault, because this is actually on track to launch on Tuesday. And what I'm showing you right now is like only my wallet can see this and the other devs, because we're just testing it right now and testing it in the UI. But this will be ready on the Arbitrum network on Tuesday. And then within a week after that, it'll be available on the Ethereum network on like within a week. So right now you can see it in the UI from both networks. But just from my wallet, just because I'm showing you guys how it works. Basically, what you want to do is you want to come over to the tab that looks like a little shop. There's the home tab, and then this tab looks like a little shop. That's our strategy center, same page as the power farms. And on top, you're going to see the RWA vault. Now, remember, this isn't live till Tuesday, and it'll be just on Arbitrum on Tuesday, and then Ethereum mainnet later. But when it's live, all you have to do is you have to connect your wallet, and you have to open a position, put in how much money, how much USDC that you want to put in, to accept conditions. There's going to be a button to approve the USDC to be spent. So it's 2 transactions, right? One like tiny transaction to approve, and then another one to actually deposit the money into the vaults. So if you look at what's happening here, first of all, let's check this out. We got a maximum capacity of $5,112,500 USDC. And so this is our 5 million allocation plus 112,500. That's actually the insurance. So remember, this is going to buying the nodes. If the nodes break, there's an insurance policy on that to make sure that you don't lose your nodes. And that's just to ensure that everything goes smoothly, having an insurance policy on that. So that's why the allocation is slightly more than $5 million. So money is going to go into this vault. It gets immediately forwarded to World Mobile for the air node strategy. And if you guys are not familiar with World Mobile and the air nodes, you should definitely check out my video on my YouTube channel for that. I just made a great video explaining how it's working. Basically, World Mobile is a mobile carrier network. They're like Verizon or AT&T. However, they've discovered how to create this network 8 times cheaper than what the competition does. So, regular cell phone networks, they build cell phone towers, right? Which take a lot of money and they take time to build. Well, these guys erect air nodes, which are basically blimps flying thousands of feet in the sky that are tethered, cable to the ground. And then the radio transmitters are on that blimp. And so by doing this, one blimp with transmitters on it can cover the area of 12 cell phone towers, and it costs 1/8 of the cost of 12 cell phone towers, and you can erect it much quicker as well. So they've just blown the conventional business model out of the water. And they've thoroughly tested this, by the way. They've been around for 8 years. And now their network is decently big right now. They've got like between 500,000 and 1 million users. That's like people paying for the internet. And they're, they're in Africa, they're in Asia, they are in North America. They are all over the place. They're even in the US in places that don't have good internet. Like for instance, Reno, Nevada. They got a big network in Reno, Nevada. Now one of the first objections I had when I was doing my research here was, isn't Starlink going to completely make these guys obsolete, because they've got satellites, right? And Elon was saying that now they could offer internet straight to people's cell phones without any app or anything needed. And I was like, well, isn't that going to make World Mobile obsolete? But no, it's not. In fact, nothing's going to make World Mobile obsolete at any time in the near future. And in fact, this is really needed infrastructure. So the difference is when you're talking about Starlink, it's a satellite, right? And so a satellite beaming internet down onto the ground, it's not high bandwidth, and it doesn't have a big capacity. So if you're talking about, one person in the middle of the forest trying to call 911 because he's being attacked by a bear, sure, Starlink can handle that. But if you're talking about, actual live internet, maybe you want to live stream a video, maybe you want to be able to watch Netflix, is not that type of internet. That's not going to happen, and certainly could happen if it's like not just one person in the middle of the woods, but actually a couple thousand people within a few square miles. Yeah, there's no satellite that's going to be able to service that effectively. And there's physics involved too. It's not just the technology; it's actual physics too. It's called beam contention. So as you put up more satellites to try to increase the bandwidth, there's beam contention, which means that the service actually degrades the more satellites you put up there. So it's not an effective solution. What these guys are doing, they're actually creating an on the ground, infrastructure that can produce high bandwidth internet, and they can do it in areas where other companies can't. First of all, because it's much cheaper. So if these cell phone companies aren't going to be able to build cell towers everywhere, it's just not cost effective for them. But with the air nodes, remember 1/8 the cost. So it's a better business model. And it's not just a better business model, but they have opened it up for a sharing economy. So same way Uber revolutionized taxis, same way Airbnb revolutionized hotels, World Mobile is revolutionizing your mobile network, your internet network. And they're allowing people to own their infrastructure, own their nodes, and earn the revenue from that. So this is why we can offer fixed 20% APY. Not like the rest of our protocol where, we were offering like 16% APY. It's like 10 to 16% APY. You can see it fluctuates, but it's market dependent, and it can even go under 10% when the market is down. But this is not dependent on the market because it is a mobile network, and there's a huge demand for that. We need a lot more infrastructure on the ground to service this needs, not less, and that means that people will pay for it too. And the cool thing about this is people don't even have to pay a lot. They're profitable in Africa. There's poor African villages paying for internet, and it's so cost effective that they can still turn a great profit, as you can see here. So this is exciting because if you think about it, just look at like the monthly returns. Let's look at $61,000. If you look at the monthly interest, that's $1,000 a month in USDC interest, and that's fixed. That's not going to fluctuate. That's something that you can claim every single month, 1,000 USDC. And so I guess this is a good time to talk about like how that actually works. So when you put money into the vaults, you'll be able to claim. This screen will change, and it'll be a claiming screen. And then you'll be able to make your first claim after 30 days. And then every 30 days, you can claim and then scrape the interest that you have earned based on how much USDC you have put in the vault. And you can only you can't scrape before the 30 days, but after the 30 days, you can scrape anytime after that. And then the payouts happen. That they're coming from World Mobile, they'll be put back in the vaults every 30 days. So every 30 days, there'll be a new payout to scrape. You can let it sit there and collect and scrape it later if you want, or you can scrape it every 30 days. And this is pretty much an indefinite thing. So unless something drastically changes, it's a fixed 20% APY vaults for as long as World Mobile is offering over 20% APY. So the actual amount of APY is a little bit more than this, and so that's why it's so profitable for Wise to be able to do this, because anything above 20% APY, that becomes revenue from the protocol, which goes to buying Wise. And so right now, it's like market dependent. We're gonna have to see, how how it goes, but it should be an extra, 5 to 10% at least on top of this 20%. sometimes even more, depending on where we get our allocation. So it should be very good revenue for everybody. Not only 20% fixed APY for the people using it, but also for the Wise protocol itself. This is going to be a great stream of revenue for us. Now the thing about this is you have to do this checkbox right here, right? That says that basically, hey, you put USDC in this vault, you can't take USDC out of the vault. This is a one-way vault. So you put USDC in, and it's going to buy that cellular network infrastructure. It's going to buy the blimp in the sky. It's going to buy the white boxes that go in people's houses. So it's going to buy that infrastructure, and then that infrastructure is going to be owned by us, by Wise. So you can't just take the USDC out. However, if you do need to liquidate, if you need your money back, there is going to be a way starting in February where you can sell your position. Like the nodes that are owned could be sold on a secondary market. So there's no guarantees like what the price of that is going to be. But given the high APY and the high demand, like just go to World Mobile, just go to the World Mobile website. They're all sold out. They're always sold out. So there's huge demand for this. And so that means you might actually be able to sell your nodes for higher than what you paid for them. Especially since with our partnership, we get a 10% discount. So we already get 10% cheaper than what it's being sold to on their website anyway, which is great. So it's very possible that you could, earn 20% APY as long as you want, and then flip it for a profit later if you want your principal back. Like that's very possible too. But the thing about this to understand is we only have a $5 million allocation as you can see here. Now I know 5 million is a lot, right? We don't even have 2 million on our protocol yet. I'm saying 5 million is little. Well, the thing is, this is 20% fixed APY, which is going to be a hot commodity. I was talking to somebody today, like one of our big Wise whales. I say Wise whales, like he doesn't even like. There's more like a Wise dolphin, I would say, because he has put a lot into Wise R. He has some Wise tokens, and remember, even our biggest, I call them whales, like even our biggest whales are just like 1% to 2% of the supply, which is very small compared to other projects that have like whales that own like 30% of the supply or more, like for instance Dogecoin and stuff like that, where there's people that own a huge, massive chunk. But anyway, I was talking to this guy. He has a bunch of Wise, and he's always been very interested in our stuff that we're building, and he's actually pulling together $500,000 to put in this vault, and maybe even more. He's saying at Christmas time, he doesn't have a lot of liquidity right now. There's a lot of other things that need his liquidity too. But he wants to pull together $500,000 within a month or two to put in here, and he's not the only one either. Like I've got several other people who are interested, so it's very possible that this could get filled up very fast, and this is what we need to happen, because if we show World Mobile that we can fill this up fast, then they're going to give us more allocation, because they only have so much allocation. And so as they grow, there's other partners too that are going to want a piece. If we show that we can fill up our vaults quickly, then we're going to get more allocation. Because what I believe is going to happen here is we're going to fill up this 5 million, and then it's going to be like 1 to 2 months before they can give us any more. And then the more that they give us might not be in another 5 million. It might only be a couple million. And then it's going to be like a scramble to see who can get in first. So I know that this is going to be a super hot commodity. Like, check this out, guys. Do you see this? I got this in the mail today. Can you guys see this? I think you can. Yeah, it says, Peter, that's me. Start earning more with a high yield savings account, 4% APY. This is who is this? American Express. American Express. High yield savings account, 4%. I keep on seeing these ads for another one like Liberty, whatever, 4.77% high yield savings accounts. Like, come on, guys, you're not going to get to retirement on 4%. Like, come on, does that even beat inflation? I don't really think it does, actually. So like, we already know that on Wise Lending, it's over 10% for our regular pool, but 20%? Are you kidding me? And usually when you see 20% APY, it's like, okay, is that sustainable? And this is one of the rare occasions where it actually is sustainable. Why? Because remember, they are building a cellular network, a mobile internet network, and they're doing it 8 times cheaper because there's been a breakthrough in technology. They realized that instead of building cell phone towers, they can use blimps instead. So this is literally a breakthrough in technology that's causing a boom. And the cool thing about this is those legacy carriers, Verizon's not going to start erecting blimps. AT&T is not going to start erecting blimps. They don't care. Guys, let me actually see Verizon revenue 2024. $33 billion. AT&T revenue 2024. What is that? 122 billion, if I'm reading this correctly. So guys, these guys are making billions, tens of billions, maybe over $100 billion. They don't care about World Mobile. They're not going to start erecting blimps. They don't have, R&D departments seeing what emerging technology there's going to be. No. World Mobile is growing quickly. Like I said, they are fast approaching 1 million users, and they have a very scalable model because remember, they can always as fast as they can build these air nodes, there's buyers there for them. So they are growing very fast, and they're so much more efficient because they're 8 times cheaper, and they're not keeping that money for themselves. They're keeping some of it, sure, but they're giving most of the revenue away to the air node operators, which is, are going to be like us, the vault participants, the people who own the air nodes. This is amazing. And so I love this. I love what they're doing. And that's where the 20% APY comes from. It's not from some crazy, market conditions. We were even seeing 20% APY on the Athena protocol. But why was that? That was because we're in a massive bull market, and that's the funding rate on exchanges. Well, that's not going to last forever. We only have a bull market once every 4 years, and it's usually only for a small part of that year. So this is something that's 20% APY, but it's static. And it doesn't go down. Why? Because it's literally people paying their phone bills. And guys, the prices on those phone bills and internet bills, that doesn't change. Like that's not going to fluctuate that much. You can think like how much you pay for Wi-Fi right now, like $40 a month, $60 a month, whatever it is, depending on your plan. How often does that change? Not really a lot. And so now imagine if the carrier was, their business model was 8 times cheaper, so that they're making that much more revenue. So instead of making like 22 billion or 100 billion like AT&T and Verizon, and then their overhead cost maybe is like 50% of that, well, maybe their overhead cost is only 10% of that or 5% of that, because it's just so much cheaper to erect these networks. This is why 20% is sustainable. It's a sustainable model because it's offering what people want. We need more on the ground networks like this. Like this is something that's in high demand and something that people love to pay for, and it's not expensive. It's a bunch of people, but the fact that it costs so much less to erect these networks, it's just the math actually checks out. So if it costs Verizon $8 million to erect this network, and then they are earning $20 million, well, what's the difference then World Mobile, it only cost them $1 million, and they can earn the same amounts. And actually their opportunity is even greater because they can go to the places that the big carriers can't. The big carriers aren't going to erect cell phone towers everywhere. It's not profitable for them everywhere. But World Mobile can go to those places that never had good internet, and they could offer really good internet, and people pay for that. And it's a really good business model. So 20% APY, extremely sustainable. And we got to get this out of our heads, of like, 20% APY not sustainable, because if you look at any other business, banking business, for instance, is 20% APY bad for, is that unheard of in a banking business? No. If you're the banker, the credit cards that you're issuing to people, like, check your interest that you're paying on a credit card. I have a friend right now who is struggling. They've got tens of thousands of dollars on a credit card, and they're paying 29% interest on that. I mean, they probably have bad credit, because 29% is super high. But even me, like, I've got perfect credit. If I don't pay off my credit card every month, it's still like 26% APY. So it's crazy. So this type of APY exists. It is sustainable. And like, this is a great way to capture it in a way that's like completely recession proof. So I'm like, if you can't tell by now, guys, I'm all in on this. Like, I really do think that World Mobile is the answer to a lot of our issues. And what I would love to see in 2025 is for us to fill up this 5 million allocation really quickly. By the end of 2025, maybe I hope to see like a $20 million allocation that's all filled up from our vaults. We'll be earning millions and millions of dollars as a protocol. You guys will be earning millions and millions of dollars in fixed APY. And then millions of dollars of WISE is going to be purchased. WISE token is going to go up. That's WISE token going up is going to spur more people to look, hey, what is this token? What's it all about? More people are going to discover us. That's going to be like Tinder on a fire that's going to ignite. Like, can you imagine, given like our story and our incredible tokenomics, and the fact that we have no whales in this ownerless liquidity, like, we're just waiting to be discovered in a big way. And as soon as we have that mechanism that's purchasing millions of dollars of WISE per year, that's the last piece of the puzzle, guys. Like, that's phase 3. Like after that, see ya. Like, we're gone. We're off to the races after that point, because it's only going to take just a little nudge for us to get discovered, because we're literally sitting on a gold mine here. And that gold mine is the WISE token. This is what I've been working for the past 4 years, guys. I dedicated all of my money to this. I was not a rich person. I still am not a rich person, but I've dedicated the great majority of my net worth to building this stuff. And I'm going to continue to do so until we see WISE turn out to be the wonderful success that it is destined to be. And it's not going to be that much longer, guys. Like, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I think World Mobile is an important first step towards building this massive economy that we want to build, the WISE ecosystem. MetaMask has WISE market cap at 10.9 million. Yep, that's exactly what we see on CoinGecko as well. What is World Mobile's exit strategy? I assume they are private. Will they stay private or do an IPO? I'm not sure about that. I believe they are a private company. Yeah, they're not a public company, but the community dropped off. I noticed your efforts, though. These programs are definitely valuable. They just require better exposure. Yeah, definitely. We used to have a much bigger community back, in the early days of WISE. But the only reason that fell off is because, we took a while to launch our product. So now that we have our product live, it can, like, all that's going to come back, and it's going to be a lot bigger, because now we don't just have a token and an idea. Like, the token's great and the liquidity is great. Ownerless liquidity, 200 million plus. Wonderful. But that's just a token and an idea. Now we've got the mechanism that makes it all work. We got the revenue generator. So once we have the revenue, we're not just going to get back those old people that used to be part of the WISE community. We're not just going to get them. We're going to get, 100 times more interest, because, what we're doing is working. And what I said we're going to do, we did it. And, we did it. We did it in a really big way. So it's not going to be much longer now. If you guys want to participate in this vault, I would start thinking about how much USDC you want to you want to put in it now, because everyone I've talked to so far has been super excited about 20% fixed APY, and I don't know how quickly this is gonna fill up, but I do believe when it does fill up, I believe we'll mostly be sitting at fully capped, and it's gonna be a scramble to get in like once we do fill this up, because 5 million is not that much when we're talking about 20% APY. There's a huge demand for that. So if you do want in, I don't know how fast we'll fill up, but I'm just saying I would start thinking about allocating some USDC now, because I know some big players that do want to get in. Let's go back to World Mobile, their exit strategy. So I'm not sure what their exit strategy is, but I do know that they want to be huge, like they want to be huge, and that they want to be a network of networks. So one thing I noticed is that they want people to franchise World Mobile Networks and do what they're doing, and then they want to help doing that too. Like for instance, Charles Hoskinson, which is the founder of Cardano, is going to franchise the World Mobile Network in Wyoming. And he's gonna have a team, create a team that's gonna put up the air nodes and do the same thing that World Mobile is doing as part of their network, but as a franchise of their network. So that's cool. And they want more of that to happen, because they want to be a network of networks and basically be a service provider for that. They don't need an exit strategy, because they have tons of revenue, and it's only growing, and it only goes up for them from here, because they have a vision to connect 1 billion unconnected people in the world. So that's what they want to do. They've also got some aspirations for privacy and ownership of personal data too, because they have their own blockchain now. It's a roll up to Optimism, which is an Ethereum layer 2. All the data for their cellular network is going to be held on that blockchain. And so there's going to be some privacy there, and they eventually want to be able to allow you to have another revenue source where you can sell your personal data. Because right now, like those big carrier companies, big tech companies collect your data and they sell it to other companies because it's valuable, right? Well, World Mobile is their own isolated network. Like Verizon and big tech companies, they don't have their fingers in the data of the World Mobile network. It's an isolated network built from scratch. So all that data that's being collected from people is valuable, and they're going to provide a way for people to own their own data and sell their own data to make money on that. So that's on top of this, USDC Airnode strategy too. So multiple ways to earn income, and it sounds like their heart's in the right place. I've done extensive research on them. They're very legitimate, very professional as well. Like I'm talking about working with them on a day-to-day basis, and this is huge. So like I would not put this on my protocol. Like I literally we integrated World Mobile into our protocol. I would not have done that if I didn't have some amount of trust and verification that's happened here. And I will say personally that I'm pretty much all in on World Mobile at this point. I love their philosophy. I love the way they do things. I love the fact that they have created like new technology that makes things much more efficient, much cheaper, and that they're able to create this yield. So I think this is the beginning of something really huge, and we're getting in relatively early because they're just starting to kind of blow up, right? It's not a household name yet. Nobody knows about World Mobile yet. They've got like almost 1 million, people that are paying for World Mobile, but that's relatively small when you think about it. But they're going to start growing, exponentially very, very soon. Yeah. So that is a good question, though. I believe they are a private company. I will go ahead and ask them if they want to IPO, what their plans are there. But anyway, guys, let's see, we've been going for a little bit more than 45 minutes. I've fire hosed you with a bunch of information. I guess takeaways from here are, decide how much USDC you're going to put in the vaults, because we don't know, how long it's going to take to hit the cap. We might hit it rather quickly. Either way, it's going to be available on Arbitrum on Tuesday. You can put USDC in from Arbitrum on Tuesday. And about a week after that, it'll be available in the protocol on mainnet. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. Have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful holidays with your families, and I will see you in the next stream.